Feel incredible!
It's not a cartoon. It's anime. Rob power up on a laptop was so weak.
I'm multitasking over here. Sorry, guys. I'm on double duty today.
Welcome to another episode of AnimeSHUN, where we review anime. We watch anime. We do a review of it.
Yes, we do.
Every episode. And
I mean, I don't know every episode.
Not every
we watch
episode.
like blocks of episodes. Of
yeah,
the
we
season
do
of
like
anime.
a season or something like that. Yeah.
And then we review those. So the idea here, which I love to explain to people when they're talking about anime, is that you're supposed to like watch the season with us. So you watch like 4 episodes. You binge watch 4 episodes, and then you listen to the episodes. So like today, we watched episodes 5 through 8.
Vinland Saga.
Vinland Saga.
Yeah, man. We got Brennan here.
What up?
We got Rob here.
Hey, everybody.
Myself, Keenan Baker.
There's somebody missing.
Is there?
There might be. He might show up any moment. We know how that
No,
goes.
he's not going to show up.
Not this week.
He's not? So no ice this week, guys. And it's so funny because we were supposed to start recording today at 11:30. And Rob, may I ask you 2 questions, please?
Okay.
The first question is,
So
what
fucking
time
petty,
did we
bro.
receive notification that Ice was not going to be here?
I believe 11:30, like on the dot.
So 11:30. So he wasn't late to let us know.
No, he was exactly on time for that.
All right, and Rob, this is just a yes or no question.
Okay.
Did you or did you not say that when you received that text that this action of Ice's was trash?
I did. I was like, that's trash.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a very Ice statement because that was very trash of him. Because if he wasn't going to be here at 11:30, don't you feel like he would have known before the exact moment of 11:30?
Yeah, because that means he would have been somewhere on his way here and being like, shit. Even still then, you have GPS.
I don't feel like he was even on his way. He was just like, oh, shit, it's actually 11:30 now. Let me just let him know.
Yeah, that was what was whack. I understand Ice has his things he has to do, but you know beforehand.
No. What makes it worse than anything else is why are we here at 11:30 today, gentlemen?
Well, because of Ice.
Well, yeah.
Because Ice picked this time so Ice could be here.
Well, this is why, too, sometimes I don't go off, like, what he says. When people are like, we can't make it at that time, but like, I'm going off everybody else's time because I understand that you guys, like, I feel like you guys be like, all right, I'm going to be here at that time.
Yeah.
There's some time where Ice be like, I got to get here at this time. And if you guys can't do that time, I'm going to go off you guys' time over his time. And no disrespect to him, but it's just like.
But this shit happens.
But because of.
Because shit like this happens.
Yeah.
Ice.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody trips on Ice not. I don't trip on Ice not being here. But the fact that Ice.
If you did, though, like, it'd be so much energy. Like, right now, how much time have we put into giving Ice shit for not being here? Because it normally starts at him being late.
Right. But I'm saying in the sense of, like, if he would have told us, like, yo, around, like, 11 or, like, 10:30, like, yo, bro, some shit happened at what I'm doing. I ain't going to be able to make it today. I have zero issue with that at all.
But it's because it's at 11:30.
Because he's texting us at the time we're supposed to start. That's whack as fuck.
That is super whack.
And he has to know that. There's no arguing that.
Oh, he will, though.
No, he will.
He will find a way.
No, one of my favorite things is so everybody who's listening on the podcast understand we also have a YouTube channel.
Yes.
And we do extra content for that YouTube channel. And
Yes.
on there we do like some one-offs of us doing different things. Me and Rob actually did a couple videos recently where we're talking about Rob actually did a bunch of research and found the most terrifying Pokemon ever, which I was a little flabbergasted by those. But the reason I bring all that
Those will
up,
be coming out soon.
Yeah, it's coming out soon. But what I found really funny was I think one of our tech guys, Tony, was telling me that apparently Ice has been getting killed in the comments on his videos because he stays with we'll call them controversial opinions.
Well, I honestly, like I said, Ice is. And I want to discuss this more when he's here because I don't like necessarily talking. Like we said this to him before.
I understand it.
Yeah, we said it to
bury
him
him
before.
He should be here.
I say it all with love, but I am looking up the like to dislike ratio on his.
But that's his
Hunter
fault.
video.
One, I don't think he's telling the truth a lot on his videos when it comes to that. I think he's trolling. I think he's trolling, and it all.
So just for the record, didn't you just prelude this by saying I don't like to talk about somebody when not around? But then you literally
because I said this to him before.
But then you also were just like you're a liar.
Well, because I've said this to Ice to his face.
Ooh.
So like we've said this. I said this to him on the podcast before.
No, I know we've done it before.
So and not in the sense of like he's like a liar as a person, but like I think like sometimes he's trolling for views. So he's like, I know if I say this with no logic really behind it.
I just think that's who he is. I don't think he's lying.
I do think he genuinely feels the way he feels.
I don't see that because I think because I know Ice is a smart person.
He is. Damn, that was an underhanded
Whoa,
compliment.
wow.
I don't think that's an underhanded compliment.
Hey, look,
No,
how about
'cause you
this?
called him smart.
Here.
Too smart to have the opinions that he has.
Here, let me help you.
No. It's not about. It's about because it's not about having those opinions. I feel like he's doing it like all right.
All right,
If
listen.
I never stated my love for Trunks, I don't think he ever brings up Trunks as overrated at
Okay,
all.
so
I agree with that.
So
Thank you.
also, just to piggyback on your point, the reason why I believe Ice is saying what he's saying and believing it is because I mean you can be brilliant in one aspect and not in another. For example, Dr. Ben Carson is one of the greatest neurosurgeons of all time.
Facts.
But have you heard the man give a speech or any of his opinions? Like,
Right.
He's an idiot.
But like I'm saying, we just proved the point pretty much last week about letting Ice go first and what we knew he was going to do.
We did. All right, man. Let's get into this episode.
So
Yeah,
that's what I'm
let's
saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's.
In the conclusion, Ice ain't shit. Rob, how we getting there? How we doing it?
So we're gonna go into episodes 5 through 8.
5 through 8.
Vinland Saga, man.
Vinland
This show is
Saga.
dope.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm about to go 2-0. That's what it looks like to me.
Looking directly.
Wait, what
into
was your
camera.
first one?
My first one was Mob Psycho.
Oh,
That is a good pick too.
all right.
I'm on fire with
It's
these.
a really
Like,
good pick.
See, the thing is, the only thing I say that also, I feel like Keenan's picks are also diluted because he's the one who was just like, let's do the audience picks. Let's get the audience in on this. And
How?
It was your idea.
Are you giving him like partial ownership
He gets
of Kuroko?
partial. He gets 100%
And
of
Gangsta?
Kuroko and Gangsta.
No,
You
we
get
all
partial
agreed.
ownership.
We all agreed for audience picks.
I didn't.
Yes, we did. We all said that's
I
a
want
fair
video
assessment.
evidence.
That's a fair assessment
I
to
want
have the
video and audio
audios
evidence.
because it makes perfect sense for the audience to be able to interact with us. That's the best way
Oh,
to
of
have
course.
them interact with us.
Partial credit.
Whatever. Anyway,
Now you. Sorry,
Brendan's out here throwing a hand at
I was
everybody.
going to take another shot. I want to take another shot, but go ahead.
So Vinland Saga, episode 5, we pick right back up. Thorfinn is still on his father's old boat, starving out, and the other Vikings are just like, yeah, that kid's got to be dead by now. He's drinking salt water.
So that's what
regretting
I was
all
trying
his
to figure
life
out.
choices.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, the way that the bucket was tipped up, I was like, maybe this is rainwater that was collected, and then the way he just like dunked his mouth in it and then spat it back out, I was like, oh, that's salt water.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Some like wave came over the side of the boat or something like that at some point. Nah, you can't drink.
Can you
that.
imagine being dehydrated and literally surrounded by water?
Oh my god, that
Oh,
must be
that's
just
sick.
maddening. Which is another one of the reasons I don't want to ever go out on open ocean.
Oh.
Like
I'm with Rob on that. I'm not an open ocean guy at all.
I've been on the open ocean.
I have been, but I'm like I've gotten seasick. I'm like I'm not. I do not feel this shit at all.
That's a lot. I mean, maybe on like a cruise ship where like we're stocked up with food, but like on a little boat like that where like you
Yeah.
don't really have supplies or anything, that's hell on earth.
Yeah,
You
I've
know?
done cruises as a comedian, and that first night, bro, I got seasick. Oh my gosh! And then they gave me like put the little thing behind your ear. Then they gave me like extreme cotton mouth. I was like, get me off this fucking boat, bro. Get me out of here.
I've had some fun adventures. Actually, with Tony, our tech guy today, on some boats in the open ocean that were
Hey, no
pretty-
killer cam today.
no cam.
Okay.
We got
Yeah.
Tony here, but
Yeah, Tony's doing his thing, I guess. Please, let's go. Let's get
Anyway,
into the episode.
Keeping it on with episode 4. So they end up landing in Askeladd and his crew wind up landing in England because right now the Danish are at war with England, and the Danish are basically recruiting Vikings as mercenaries to help them out in their
Yes.
war effort. So they land and they head off into the woods to try and find somewhere to start ransacking and pillaging. And Thorfinn, still alive, barely, wanders off the boat, like, and trying to climb up after them, slips down, like, smacks his head on the ground and doesn't wake up until nightfall. But when he does hear a stream nearby, finally gets some water. He's feeling a little bit better, but still needs some food.
Yep.
But before he can even process that, he sees the light in the distance of this village burning down, and it's Askeladd's crew at work. They are
what
just
they do.
murdering innocent people wholesale, which is why I
Terrible.
can't really get down with
I
pirates.
was just about to.
Yeah.
I was just about to be like, and
Yeah.
Rob makes a good point. Pirates versus ninjas.
Yeah.
He's always gonna take ninjas because
ninjas every time. Pirates aren't shit. Like they are just they prey on the weak. Anytime anybody that can do anything to them, like the Navy or other pirates show up, they just turn tail and run. They don't like do anything.
Yeah.
Pirates suck, dude.
They suckers, man. For the seems like
Pretty
they
much.
suckers.
I mean, these particular pirates,
They go.
they ain't no hoes. Like they definitely do horrible things.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they also like they went after Thor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They went after Thor, and like we'll see later on this episode, like they also don't shy away from battles of soldiers either.
That's true.
They always play to their advantage, though. They're always looking for an angle.
Very
You know
strategic,
what I
though.
mean?
No, I mean, but what's wrong with being strategic in
Nothing.
war?
I can't say. No, I'm not even knocking that necessarily. But these guys are they are ruthless.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they'll kill men, women, children, anybody in their way just to get the gold.
That's a really good. That's a pretty good prelude to what we're about to get into. 'Cause
Yeah. So
these episodes, man.
because they even got people just like those two. They had this dude. We kind of meet some of the other people in Askeladd's crew, and one of them is this guy who apparently has incredible hearing. They just have him posted up with a bunch of archers on a hillside with his hands behind his ears, and he's just there's two on the right, and they just these two dudes that don't even seem to be running. They just got bags on their shoulders, and they just catch 2 arrows to the neck going down.
Yeah.
Everybody's going down in this fight.
Yeah, that was sad.
So Askeladd's crew, they get everything. You know, they got the whole thing under control, and Thorfinn wanders into the village as they're kind of going through their spoils, sleeping it off, and he finds where Askeladd's holed up, and he picks up a sword, sneaks into his cabin, and he's got the sword hovering over his neck, and he's just I can't kill him like this. This is the cowardly way to do it.
Yeah.
This isn't
My dad
honorable.
wouldn't. Yeah, my dad wouldn't approve of this.
And
I'm a G.
I'm the son of Thor.
Yeah.
and little does he know, Askeladd's
Thors.
got Thors with an S. But Askeladd's got his eyes open. He's just waiting for him to see if he's going to do it.
But I think he knew. He knows that this kid is. He's sitting there you don't have not that you don't have it in you, but he's you can't do that. You have too much pride to even do something like this. So I don't even think Askeladd was even worried at all.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No.
Askeladd is the best and worst mentor ever, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. So the next morning he wakes up and Askeladd's talking with Bjorn, and Bjorn's just oh, how'd you sleep? He's not great. I had a noisy little fly in my room. And right on cue, Thorfinn steps out and is just Askeladd, I challenge you in the name of Odin.
Son of Thors.
Yeah.
Challenge you.
And he's just all right, kid, we can do this if you
What
want.
I like about Askeladd, he backs down from nothing.
No.
He don't. You're 7. You gonna get this? You gonna get his ass whooping
We
still?
can do this.
I'm son. I
mean,
forgot who he's the son of.
Yeah.
But he's yeah, son of so and so. I accept your challenge.
Well, I'm just saying though, I 100% agree with what you're saying, because if you think about it, he watched Thor's tear apart one of his boats with his men that he trained. He's watched him tear them to pieces,
Easy
tear
work.
his number 2 guy to pieces after he took the mushroom of craziness,
Mhm.
and then he's just I accept your challenge 1-on-1. Let's go.
And he's bro, I can't. Ain't no bitch in me so much that these guys behind me, they see that it's over.
Yeah.
I gotta fight you no matter what.
Yeah, this dude, even when he lost, he's you got to admit defeat. I can't do that.
Yeah, I can't do that with these guys.
Nah.
No, I'm not doing that, bro.
Not gonna happen. Take
That's
these
one-
arrows, bro.
Yeah.
Take these.
So that's
arrows.
one thing I do respect about him is that he's a G.
Yeah, Askeladd ain't no hoe.
You know, yeah.
But let's get back to the may I actually?
Go for it.
All right, so Askeladd gets challenged. He accepts the challenge. Everybody circles up oh, the kid's gonna do it. And this is when Thorfinn, he has the big sword, pretty much a full size sword. He's still a kid, and he charges at him. He just does a quick sidestep, pretty easy to dodge. Any of us could have done that. And his sword gets stuck in the ground, and then Askeladd walks over and gives him some real life advice. He says, "You can't fight with your sword swinging around crazy like that," and then kicks him.
Kicks him
And
right
the fight's
gut.
over.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's it. The fight's over, and they just leave him. And then after that, Thorfinn has to kind of fend for himself. Obviously, he's still hungry.
Yeah, well, they even try to offer him some food. Some of the
Yeah,
other
he doesn't want
Vikings,
that,
they're
yeah.
like, "Hey, you want some of this meat we got?" And he's like, "Nah, fuck you! You killed my dad. I'm out of here."
Yeah, I'd have been like, I hate you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat this to get strength to kill you.
So now he's in the woods fending for himself. He's trying to what? I think he gets approached by a wolf.
Well, he tries to catch a rabbit.
Rabbit
yeah.
first, yeah.
And he can't. He can't really. He still doesn't know what to do with the sword.
He tries to eat some berries and shit. Can't.
No,
Yeah.
he doesn't know. He doesn't really know how to forage or live in this environment. But yeah, he's camping out when this wolf walks up to him. And honestly, at first, I was just like, "Oh, maybe
He's about to have a wolf friend.
maybe he's about to have some sort of animal companion." But
I
that's
didn't
not
think
how
that at
things
all.
work in the wild.
Vinland Saga is not about animal-friendly life.
Yo, I want to know, in all honesty, whether you're his age or the age now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fucking freaked out would you have been?
if I had
yeah, holy shit.
if I had the amount of weaponry that he did, as well as fire, I would have been scared. But I wouldn't have been I'm not about to fight.
Weaponry,
I wouldn't.
all he had was what?
He had a sword. He had a short sword, a long sword, and fire.
The long sword is too heavy for him. Short sword is his best bet.
He killed him with the long sword.
No, he killed him with
the
a
short
dagger.
sword.
Oh,
That
he
was
killed
the
him with a
first time
dagger?
he
That's when
killed anything with a dagger.
That's
Yeah.
when he started using the dagger all the time.
Okay, but either way, he has a dagger.
Yeah,
so
because he's got the sword out, and then he kind of, I think he thinks back to what he was told. Like, he can't just like swing that thing around. He's like, I don't really even know how to use this. And then he puts it down, and as he does, the wolf charges at him, and he pulls out the dagger and like puts it up.
Yeah,
Yep,
and it's something I
okay.
think his dad said too. Remember, his dad said something about like I think this is more for you or something like that because of like the size that you are that you
Yep.
can hold. Yeah, so he kills it with the you telling me you would still I would still be in a full on panic, sword or not.
I say I wouldn't be, but that's just because I know me. I've been in situations before that were terrifying, like kind of not necessarily similar to that directly, but I have definitely been in life-threatening situations before. I've been in situations like that, and I find that I'm always like really calm in those situations. So it's just I don't take any credit for that. Like, oh man, I chose to be calm. That's just kind of how it happens for me.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like yes, I will definitely. My heart rate will be much higher. I will definitely be scared, but I will be calm. Like I like to believe that in that calmness, I would have done something similar to what Thorfinn did. Chances are, thinking about how I know how I'd operate, is I probably would have grabbed like an ember from the fire and threw it at the wolf, and then made the wolf go away because I know that wolves will not fuck with fire.
Right.
So it's just like if I would have probably avoided the actual close combat in general,
Yeah.
but I also wouldn't have got wolf soup.
Well, I'd be freaked out too because I'm just thinking like, wolves hunting packs. Where's the rest of them?
Yeah.
So they
you
do
know?
until they have a cub. So when a wolf has a cub, typically like they pair for life, and that pairing starts a whole new pack. And then the beginning of that, the male wolf goes out and hunts while the female stays in the den with the babies.
Okay.
So it's just one male wolf out hunting. So that's
So
probably
Thorfinn just like
He just
condemned
liberated the
bunch
whole
of, like,
family.
yeah,
'Cause,
whole
yeah,
family of
yeah.
wolves.
Because I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm like,
Thank you,
I
Planet
wouldn't.
Earth.
I will be calm in the sense of like, all right, it's either me or him, right? So, but I'll be in such an internal panic, like, man, if I don't do this, man, it might just be one of these. Like it's just that's the end of it, dog. But I'm gonna have the emperor tonight.
Keenan's gonna die that night, guys. There it is.
No, I'm going for blood for sure. I'm a very primitive person when it comes to that. I feel like if it's like me or him,
Yeah.
I get very primitive in that point. I won't say what I'll do.
Keenan
'cause
seems
I
somebody
want
that's
to
gonna
use it
bite you in
against
a
me.
fight.
Huh?
Keenan's somebody that'll bite you in the middle of a fight.
I'll do whatever. If I'm down and out and I have to win, yes.
I think we
Fucking
talked
course.
about something like
Yeah, I
this
think
before.
like the niceties and the humanity of us, of everybody, gets stripped away much quicker than any one of us would like to think
Yeah.
if we're out in the wild. You know what I mean?
All right. So
We'll do anything.
so
we're humans,
Yeah.
we're animals too.
Yeah.
Did they show him eating the wolf at all?
No, they didn't, because
no.
I was thinking that like, oh yeah, now he's got all this meat. Maybe he'll,
Well, he had to have eaten it. Like,
he must
had
have.
to. 'Cause
They
he had a
didn't show
fire.
it, but he
Yeah.
messed up. But around this time too, we get a little cutaway. We're back to Iceland, where they're Leif Erikson and the rest of the other guys are showing back up at Thor's old house, telling his wife and daughter like, hey, Thor's didn't make it, and we don't know what happened to Thorfinn, but he's gone. And we'll find him. Like Leif Erikson's even just like, I will dedicate my life to finding your son. Like whatever. And both the daughter, well, not so much the mom, but the daughter's kind of just like, nah, whatever. Like we got stuff to do.
Yeah.
And she goes right back
Thor's
to
daughter is the truth.
like she just buries herself in her work. She goes right back to it. Like I don't have time. Like to
We don't have no
mourn
men
this
here.
guy.
We don't have our men are not here to do the work. I have to do all the work. My mom is sick.
Yeah, and she even says like, with a guy like him, as as weird and as distant as he was, I'm kind of not surprised this is the way it went down.
Yep.
And she's just like, all right, mom, like we don't have time to like mourn about this guy. We got stuff to do. And the mom's just like, no, like just sit down and rest. And when she finally has that moment to like stop and reflect, that's when the tears come. And she's just
Yeah,
like,
I can't necessarily agree that she's like a gangster or a G for that. I think you need to let emotion out.
yeah.
You're human. You have to let that shit out.
Well, I like to think that's kind of like how I honestly, I probably would process it very similar to her. I've done that before, where it's like I've had a family member pass that was close with me, and that I would just dive into work and whatever else I could do to distract myself from the way that I feel, and then eventually it doesn't. You only can run from it for so long. And It's
Right.
like
Yeah.
you get into a moment of stillness, and it just all hits you. And then it comes in waves, like
But it
grief.
also- it
Grief
also-
for me comes in waves. Like it'll happen, and then I'll be on, chilling like a month later and be on a toilet, just like, yeah, man, I'm hanging.
Hits you when you least expect
Just
it
hits you.
sometimes,
Yeah,
know?
I guess it could seem like from the family's end, like she's a piece of shit by not even having any grieving moments, and like yo, your father just passed, your brother's gone, nothing from you.
I think it was obvious. Like anybody around her is just like she's outworking everybody.
I mean, I kind of knew she must have been hurting, but
Yeah.
like that's just their way. Like that's their society is just and who she is in her family. Like, Thorfinn, like they're all tough.
Yeah.
Like so for his daughter, and I'm sorry, I don't know her name, I forget. She just hasn't been on as much. It's like Ilga or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Ilga or something. But
Mm-hmm.
she's tough too. And she's like, it's time to like, we got to do what we got to do. We don't have time to mourn the people that aren't here.
Yep.
You know, because it just to wallow in it could be death for them.
Yeah.
It's like it's got to get done. So back to Thorfinn, he's he's had his wolf, he's eaten up, and he's napping. When he wakes up and Bjorn is there, like picking some mushrooms, he's just like, oh hey, like you're still alive. You want some of these? He's like, you killed my dad, I'll kill you.
Use me as a shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think this might have been before the wolf showed up because he attacks him with the sword and he just like blocks it, and he's just like, man, like
Yeah.
you better wise up. You better figure out what you're gonna do because like you can't
You can't just keep
survive on
attacking
your
us
own.
like this. It's
Yeah.
not gonna work.
And he tells Askeladd about it, and he's just like, yeah, he'll probably die off in a while. But Thorfinn, to his credit, like he starts practicing with the dagger. You know, he hangs up a bucket on the tree, starts like practicing on that.
You know what played in my head?
Is that
Fucking Destiny's Child, I'm a Survivor.
yeah?
I'm a survivor.
I'm not gonna give up.
When he's doing all this dagger work, I was like, this is so funny.
Yeah, he draws like a target on the tree, and he's just like, I'm gonna practice throwing this thing. And he gets a little bit of skill to him because
Yeah.
as Askeladd and his crew are about to head out, this dude with the good hearing's just like, hey, somebody's coming, and it's Thorfinn, and he's just like, he challenges him to another duel, and
Round 2.
Askeladd's just like, all right, if you want to keep doing this, but Thorfinn comes at him in a totally different way this time.
So this time you could even see in Askeladd's face. He
Well,
was just like,
also, he's been
huh.
throwing the dagger a lot, and he's been skillfully being able to throw the dagger really, really well.
yeah. And so he doesn't come out doing that though. He comes out
Yeah, yeah,
swinging
yeah,
because
yeah.
he also was like cutting individual leaves off of branches of trees. That's how he was learning how to cut. And so like that's what Thorfinn does. Is he comes at him very precisely. And this time Askeladd is like, you can see he's a little bit impressed on his face when he's dodging. I mean, he's still dodging rather easily, but he's still just like, oh, it's a whole different experience than last time. And he kicks the shit out of him again.
Well, I guess he even says, like, when Bjorn's just like, hey, that kid's still out there, he's like, well, I guess it is like the son. He's got the blood of the troll in
Yeah.
him, you know,
Yeah.
his dad. He's like, yeah, it would be foolish of us to believe that he would die that easily. So,
Yeah.
and
He respects him. That's what it comes
does.
down to.
Yeah.
Askeladd respects Thor's and he respects Thorfinn.
Mhm.
And it's very obvious because like he beats his ass, he kicks him into the ground, and he doesn't kill him. Again, two
Yeah.
chances to kill him. Well, he's had unlimited chances to kill him,
Yeah.
but two direct chances that he's supposed to kill him in these duels. He chooses not to, and almost gets killed by Thorfinn because Thorfinn like goes down. Everybody thinks he's out. He opens his eyes and he does the throw that you were talking about, Keenan, and Askeladd knocks it off. You know, like just like but he's also impressed. He's just
Yeah.
like, cool,
Yeah.
leave him here, kind of
For
thing.
another like Demon Slayer throwback, this reminded me a lot of that moment when Tanjiro threw the axe in that first fight
Yes.
against the other Demon Slayer when they first met. And
Yeah.
at that point, like both of those characters, Askeladd and the other Demon Slayer whose name I forget, like they had kind of written those characters off. But in that moment, they're like, okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
all
Got
right,
something to you.
All
yeah,
right,
you
you
got
ain't-
something up your sleeve.
Yeah, you ain't no hoe.
Do you think that Askeladd is keeping him alive because he's like, yo, he deserves his revenge, like when he gets his full potential? Or do you just think he's just keeping him alive because it's like, well, I'm just going to manipulate this little fucker? And
I think it's more the second one. I don't necessarily think because I mean he's gonna want to. He has self-preservation. Like Askeladd, for him to get his revenge, it has to go through Askeladd. You know,
Yeah,
and I don't think
yeah.
he necessarily wants that to happen. But he thinks like, well, maybe I can bend this kid into a tool that I can use.
I personally think it's a little bit of column A and then the column B that hasn't been brought up yet. Is for me the column B would be that Askeladd, he respected Thor's a lot. And Thor's is probably one of the best or the greatest warrior he ever fought one-on-one, and he lost. And he lost that duel, and part of that duel, part of what he agreed to when he lost is that he's going to let his man and his son live. And so he's doing the bare minimum to uphold his honor and saying like, yo, I will keep your son alive, kind of thing. And then also he's
Yeah,
impressed
true.
he's impressed with that, with what his son's becoming. And I honestly think what he's going to end up doing at some point is being able to redirect Thorfinn's anger. Because Thorfinn has so much anger, and he thinks it's at Askeladd because he's like, he points at Askeladd, he's the one who killed you. But at some point, Askeladd's gonna be like, look, let me explain to you exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I have no problem with your father.
Yeah.
That's why I let all of you live after I killed him. You see how we do things.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
been with us for all these years. How many people have you seen me let live?
Yeah, because what Thorfinn does miss and what we skipped over is that while Askeladd and his men are chilling in this village, like the Yoms Vikings like send some representatives with the gold, like, hey, we heard what happened. Thor's is dead. The job is complete. Here's your sack of gold.
Yep. Yeah.
And they asked him like, oh yeah, like our leader wanted to know how did Thor's die, and
He's just like
he doesn't really give him the satisfaction. He's just like he just died like normal, like everybody else does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I think there's a huge point in what I was saying, though, is that they kill everyone. That's the way they work. Women, children, like they kill everybody. The only time in this entire show that we've seen them not do that was for Thor's, in honor of Thor's, because of his respect for Thor's. And the only reason he hasn't killed his son yet is because of his respect for Thor's. So I personally believe that what's going to happen later on in the show is that, like I said, he's going to redirect that anger back to those original Vikings that betrayed Thor's and bringing him back. And I think that's what's going to end up happening is that, I don't think that Thorfinn and Askeladd are ever going to have a good relationship, but I think that it's going to become a mutual respect there. He's like, look, man, I didn't know who your dad was. I got hired and paid a ridiculous amount of money to kill your dad. And you see, that's what
you want me to do, baby?
Yeah. He's like, that's what we do. He's like, and that's what we do. And your dad, he's like, also, I respect your dad a lot because your dad could have killed half of my men.
Yeah.
He didn't kill anyone. And it's like, your dad could have killed all of us. And he decided to instead try to save you guys based upon my word. Yeah. So here we are. You're alive. You're grown. You know how to fight, all because your dad gave up everything for you. So I respect him. I respect who he was as a warrior. And I'm telling you right now, you can challenge me all you want, but am I really the bad guy?
Yeah. Well, and then in that moment, Thorfinn throws the dagger at him, and he's just like, oh, shit, and he knocks it out of the way.
Because Askeladd ain't no hoe, man.
Yeah.
But he does tell him, like, and Thorfinn's just like, no, finish this fight. Like, I'm still alive. I'm still fighting. You have to fight me. And he tells him, like, no, I'm not going to right now. Like, from one warrior to another, like, this fight is over. Like, if you want to challenge me again, like, do something cool in battle, and then
me in the battlefield
and earn it.
Yeah.
And that way you can do it because he does respect it. And that's his moment of acknowledgement, warrior to warrior. No, like, you need to work your way back up to me.
Yep.
But I think he also is, like, I do think that's a good point, Brennan. I think he changed my mind a little bit. That, he's honoring his commitment to Thor's, and this is something that came up recently in One Piece that I read, but somebody that wants to throw their life away to get revenge for somebody that had died, and they're just like, the way to honor that person's sacrifice is not by throwing your own life away.
No.
Like, they gave their life so
you
could live your life.
Yeah.
Right, that's kind of what I think he's trying to teach to Thorfinn on some level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is like, you also have to understand, if you're Askeladd, like, and you understand, number one, this is a child. Number two, this child watched my men and me kill your father in front of you. Like, you're gonna have a singular focus. Like, you have a very low listening for someone like me until I beat it into you.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you're gonna really listen to me. I can't be a loving, doting person for you. It's just never gonna work.
Right.
The only reason that you believe you're here is to kill me. So it's like, I have to treat you I have to give you lessons at arm's length.
Yeah.
So he does give him lessons at arm's length. He puts him through the fire and flame at arm's length, and he makes it. He also has to play the politics of his men as well. He can't show favor to Thor's son, just one of the Mark's kids. This son, as you can tell, like, his men are starting to respect Thorfinn. Yeah. But at the same time, it doesn't matter because it's like, who is he to us? What does he really want? He wants to kill me. So it's just like, all right, I gotta balance all this political side of things. I can't let my men see I'm giving anyone, even a kid, the ability to disrespect me and challenge my life and expect like that's okay. I gotta beat the shit out of him. But at the same time, I still have to honor his father and be able to bring him up. So it's like he's walking that line all the time.
He is.
And I think he does a really good job of it.
Yeah, I think he does too. I think he's a dope character in this show so far.
Yeah, he actually. Now this is gonna be weird because it's not. I just now I'm drawing this line, and I think it's a very thin line. But if you guys remember Megalobox, the boxing trainer, I think there's just a slight similarity.
You know what's funny? I knew you were gonna do this. I literally have it in my notes saying that. But talk about the Megalobox trainer. I knew Brennan's gonna bring it up because you like that trainer. I fucking hated him.
I didn't like him. I just respected what he was able to pull out of people.
I feel like Askeladd believes in Thorfinn way more than that trainer believed in Joe 100%. Until like maybe the last 2 or 3 episodes.
I agree with that.
And I think it's different. I don't consider either one of them trainers. I consider both of these guys motivational speakers, most likely, if anything. But the trainers.
Well, because Askeladd doesn't train Thorfinn for anything, as we see coming up in these next.
He gives him advice.
He gives him advice.
Motivational speaking.
Yeah, he does. But but all that this episode winds up with ends with Thorfinn joining Askeladd's crew in earnest.
Yes.
To try and gain glory on the field of battle to earn the next duel.
Like, all right, I will earn this duel, motherfucker.
Pretty much. So the next episode starts off with Askeladd's crew. They sail somewhere else in England. They actually land in the Humber region over on the Humber River, which I know Tony spent some time there last year for another project we were working on. I was like, oh shit, Humber. So anyway, they landed over there.
Tony just got so excited.
He
y'all,
did.
I didn't expect him to get that excited.
Well, what's kind of cool to me about the show is how like I can't be 100% historically accurate, but how much real history they are.
Well, this
working
show's
with the
based on
pretty cool.
on real historical events,
Right.
So, like Thorfinn is a real human being, like was a real human being.
Or they're like based on characters that because I read another character that comes up later is like it's not that person exactly, but it's based on somebody.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I like
actually
shows like
exists.
this. So it's like, hey, you're getting stuff based on, just like the new episode of Watchmen is based on an actual historical event that a lot of people don't know about.
I gotta watch it. 'Cause I've been hearing great things about Watchmen.
Yeah.
But they end up landing in the Humber region, and they're getting off the boat. And this is Thorfinn's first time, like, seeing dead bodies, like, seeing actual carnage of battle.
Yeah.
And the smell hits him. The vision hits him. He sees this dude with his intestines all laid out, and he throws up.
This shit is graphic, bro.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it. I'm all in.
But yeah, he sees that, he goes in, and then they're like,
Well, they have a short little discussion because it's Bjorn that has just like, hey, this doesn't look like the dead. He's looking at the dead people. He's like, are these like Danish soldiers? Like these kind of look like other Vikings. And Askeladd says in no uncertain terms, like, yeah, I mean, the Danish are at war with the English, and they're bringing us on to help them out, like as mercenary forces, and to make up for their lack of, I guess other forces. Because what was kind of confusing to me on this show is that I guess the Yom's Vikings, even though Vikings are in there, are not actually Vikings. It seems like they're maybe more like Danish special forces, because they seem to be part of the main Danish army, whereas the rest of the Vikings, everybody's just like, no, you guys are pirates.
Yeah.
Which is what ends up happening, because they set up camp, and as they're camping out, like they get approached by some of the Danes, and they strike a deal. Askeladd negotiates another deal for another 5 pounds of gold and like half the take, as just like, hey, there's a bunch of English people over there. We want you guys to, saddle up and fight them in the morning for us. And they negotiate a rate, but before they can put a handshake on the deal, the English already have them surrounded, and arrows start flying, and it turns into chaos very quickly.
yeah.
And as Thorfinn is kind of running around, just like, all right, cool, like this is my time, like this is the battle, this is I gotta like get into my moment of greatness. And turns around, there's like a full-grown Englishman, just like, kid, are you one of the pirates? Like, well, sorry. And he like pulls out a sword, and he's ready to end him right there.
Yeah.
And it's actually Askeladd that saves him, and he's just like, oh shit, like you're alive under there? I figured you were
That's
dead
so funny.
already.
Those motivational
Yeah.
speaking words saved his life. Please continue.
Yeah, they did.
How's that motivational speaking? He literally saved his life.
That's not training though. You said he's a trainer.
I mean, that's
He didn't like, it wasn't anything
mentor.
like it wasn't any like Ra's al Ghul and like Batman Begins, like they were out there on the ice or anything like that.
I'm just saying that's more than a motivational speaker. They don't necessarily directly save your lives. Like, there's
I'll
I don't know
take-
if I don't know
I'll
if there's
take-
a word for what he is.
I'll take mentor to a point, but trainer, no.
So he saves him, and then shortly afterwards, Thorfinn approaches another guy who was just like, "What are you doing here, kid?" And then Thorfinn stabs the shit out of him and
Yeah,
kills him.
he's
His
his
first.
first
Ah!
So intense.
It's his
So
first
intense, the
real
screaming.
fucking kill, man.
The voice actor of Thorfinn. Whoo.
Yo, he was.
So me and Rob were like reviewing the scenes, and I had a question that I thought would be a really good question to pose here. Aaron from Attack on Titan, Thorfinn, who is more intense?
I don't feel like Aaron is as intense as Thorfinn.
Rob disagrees.
I was going to say the opposite. I thought Aaron is more intense than Thorfinn, only because they start off about equal, and then I feel like Thorfinn sort of like levels off at a point, and he kind of becomes more like just kind of like ice cold, like on the
That's
level.
true. Yeah.
But Aaron stays up here. He's always screaming about something.
I guess I felt like he was more emotional in the sense of like he's just screaming, but not like in a sense of like intensity. If that
Yeah,
makes
Aaron
sense.
was so intense, bro. Like,
I mean, still going forward. I mean,
yeah, through the whole entire 3 seasons, every time a fight happens, Aaron is on the edge of not only death, but also on the edge of his own emotions and the ability to control himself while becoming the Titan that screams the whole time it fights as well.
Yeah.
Because he has so many pent up emotions. So I think first of all, the voice actors for both of those, hats off.
I guess I'm just looking at it like Thorfinn's intense moments have been like. I guess I'm looking at the visual of the slaughter that he's been doing.
I mean, they're all bad. I mean, they both had parents killed in front of them.
I'm talking about the intense of like Thorfinn's like fucking starts to murder motherfuckers like crazy, whereas the murdering I guess that Aaron does is not as intense to me that I've seen from Attack on Titan. Because when he's a Titan, it's just more like biting and just throwing some cats here and there.
I guess that's true, because when Thorfinn jumps on this dude, like, he stabs him twice, which brings him down, but then when he's down,
He's
it's just
going.
like all
Yeah.
rage, white hot, like rage, just like he's going in on that guy.
And this is a child doing this, whereas Aaron is older than him. I
Yeah.
think as a teenager, it's a little bit different than you being like a 7-year-old. And then when you turn into this Titan, it's like you're an adult.
Yeah.
This is a fucking kid that's not even 10 years old, and he has to slaughter and murder somebody. Like, puberty is not even in your mind right now.
Fun episodes, guys.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's intense. So I would
Definitely
still give the slight to Thorfinn, but yeah, I don't.
I accept your argument, Keenan.
Yeah.
Well, and from here on out, we see a montage of, throughout the years as Thorfinn gets older and older and more badass as he goes. As
Doing
we
some
see
crazy moves.
he does, and like he's like learned to stab people in the in the neck. He's got some Assassin's Creed type moves out here.
Man.
Yeah,
He
he's
had
doing the switch hand blades and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the moment in here that I really liked is when, they're in the battle the next day or a few weeks later or whatever, years later, and Askeladd's even got a guy coming up behind him and Thorfinn saves him, but it's not because he's like got any warm fuzzies for this dude at this point. It's
I'm
because,
gonna be one that kills you, motherfucker.
yeah, it's like it's not gonna be anybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was the scene right after this, towards the end of the montage where he's out there, he's fighting two guys at once. Thorfinn's fighting two guys at once.
Well,
And
because
then-
Askeladd has sent him out as a scout.
Yeah.
Askeladd sent him out as a scout, and he's fighting two guys at once. He disarms one of the guys and then goes after the other guy, and he pretty much gets taken to the ground, and the guy's getting ready to kill him. One of the guys like, hold him down, I'm going to kill him. And Thorfinn sees that one of the guys holding him down has a dagger roughly like his, and in his sheath, and he pulls that out, kills him, and then kills the other guy. And now we have a dual wielding Thorfinn, which is pretty terrifying, actually.
Yeah, and he's out and he's still on the run. But he gets nailed by an arrow. He's wounded and he starts to bleed out. And we kind of cut to the scene of like this English village. You got this older woman and her daughter kind of just getting some water, doing their daily chores, and they're talking about the war between the Danish and the English, and kind of how the old woman's like, it's not really our problem. Like, I don't have a problem with the Danes. This is basically rich people fighting over things that don't really concern us. Like we're all people, really.
I mean, when I reread the synopsis, it said he actually ran away from all of this. He was trying to run away, not even to be with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the synopsis said he ran away and then he just ended up being in that village. So it wasn't like he was trying to stay with Askeladd and them. He was trying to get away from them. He was like, I guess he was done with it.
Oh, because I read it as like he was basically saying that because Askeladd had said, hey, we need somebody to go out and scout, and he's just like, why would I scout for you? And then he gives him like the neck chop like symbol, which I assumed meant like, I killed your dad, you still want that revenge, right?
Yeah.
And so I figured this was like one of his first time scouting, because
And it could be. I mean, that's just.
all right, fair enough. But because what ends up happening works out too well. Like it has to be the plan, right?
Yeah.
Because as they're out there, and the woman and her daughter bring him in, and they kind of nurse him back to health against the daughter, saying like, hey, this is an enemy combatant. Like, he could be anybody. We don't even know who this guy is. And she ends up being right.
Yeah.
She ends up being right, and the old woman's just like, hey, this is a child, but we have to do what we can. And while she's like combing his hair out, like one of the English guards comes by and it's just like, hey, we're looking for a Danish scout. And whose kid is that?
Yeah.
By the way,
She was like, it's my kid.
so she covers for him,
Yep.
and because she apparently lost a child recently.
That's about his age.
He stinks. He has lice.
Yeah,
Everything,
he's
bro.
got fleas. Yeah, he's terrible.
But that shows you how a woman too, like when it comes to children, women are they're nurturing no matter what, which is like a great quality.
But sometimes not great. Doesn't end up so great for her here.
No, it does not.
I mean, technically, yes, it doesn't.
She should have gave his ass up to that guard, and they might all have been okay.
Yeah, because it's not even a few hours later, really.
Yeah.
That sun has gone down, and Thorfinn. They're because the daughter and the mom are arguing about it, because she's just like, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna come in here, and we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
And while they're having that argument, Thorfinn says the only words he knows in English. He just tells him run.
Yeah.
Picks up a log out of the fire and books it out of there, and
Yeah.
sets one of the cabins on fire, which
That's
is a
on
signal.
that's Oceanside, like yeah.
Which serves as a signal to Askeladd and his crew of just like, hey, I'm here. Like, this place is good to attack.
I hate the stubbornness of old people. When you tell the old people like, "This leave your city, it's gonna be too much damage. I'm gonna burn down with my house." Like, get the fuck up out of there, man.
Go.
If she would have left, at least her and the daughter would have survived. But no,
He
she
told
was.
her, and the funny, like, so, like, as the Vikings are attacking, like, Thorfinn, before they even got there, he's even telling the people who's in the house that he burned down. They're
Yeah.
like, "What are you doing burning our house?" He was like, "Y'all need to run."
Yeah,
He's
get
like,
up out of here.
Everybody go.
Yeah.
He's killing guards, just telling people like, "What are you doing standing here watching me do this?
Get away
Run."
from the ocean. That is what you need to do. Leave the ocean now, or you will. And they got there.
Do you
Yeah.
feel like he was like robotic? It's like robotic as hell. Like he was like literally mentally trained. Like he's like, just get up out of here. Why he's
Yeah.
just murdering people?
Yeah.
Just let
Pretty
y'all
much,
know.
yeah. I feel like this moment is like the last gasp of his humanity at this point. And I think a part of him dies in this moment, and you
Yeah,
even
yep.
see it in his eyes.
Yeah.
As he's like,
As
they're coming on, and he sees this old woman like watching him.
Mm-hmm.
The old
'Cause
woman
she-
who took care of him is
Mhm.
staring him down with like a broken heart.
Yeah,
as
because
the
she saw
Vikings
him.
invade.
Yep.
After he runs away, she calls John after him, which was the name of her dead son. So
Yeah.
she thought like, oh, I'm gonna bring him in. I'm gonna take care of him. And then she just must feel so betrayed in this moment. And
You
he
can tell
just,
he felt like shit too, though.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for a second, he felt like shit. He looked down, looked back up. She was gone. He took a deep breath, and then his eyes had no emotion. in them. Yeah, it's like, all right, well, he's a killing machine now. It's official, guys. We
Yeah.
are here. Welcome to Thorfinn. He has been established as a character who does not give a hint of a fuck.
Yeah.
No, this dude is, I mean, miserable, absolutely miserable
Yeah.
episode. But
I liked it.
so
I
we-
loved it, man.
I mean, it was a good episode, but
But it was
fuck,
miserable. Yeah.
fuck, man.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, man, this mom lady is going to be really great. Like, this is great. He has a positive. Oh, no, he doesn't.
No,
Yeah.
that went away much
Very
faster
quickly.
than I expected.
Same
it to.
episode. She is dead.
Ugh.
And probably raped, to be honest. The daughter definitely
the daughter
raped.
definitely was.
Definitely
yeah.
raped.
I
Mom,
mean, everybody in that town
flip a
is dead.
coin.
Yeah.
Everybody in that town is dead. That's because that's the way they operate. They can't have them running away and alerting the English that
I
they're
look,
there.
it's really messed up, but I'll say better than goblin rape.
I guess. Like, I don't know if I want
Yeah.
to split hairs
Yeah,
over that.
I don't. Which one's worse? They're both.
I'm just
They're
saying,
both
would you rather have the
terrible.
Vikings
Terrible.
coming in, like, say you're, know this is-
Neither.
I mean, neither, of course, but I'm just saying, if you had to pick one of
They
the two.
both stank because Vikings ain't showering. They're both evil motherfuckers.
Goblins!
Aren't the goblins just the Vikings of that world, really?
Bam.
Man, but they're like green creatures that scratch you and claw you up while they're doing it, and they just do all
It's
horrible.
the same thing, just a different skin tone. That's
Bruh.
really all it is, to be honest.
I'll take humans over goblins.
I guess. All right, well.
I don't even want to go this route because I
Yeah.
had some questions to ask you about, but just no.
Let's just move on.
Yes.
What happens next, Rob?
Yes.
So anyway, this next episode picks up a few years later. The campaign in England's been going on, and they show this quick scene with Floki is kneeling before the king of Denmark, and he's telling him like, "Hey, winter's coming up. It's fall now. We should probably get our guys out of there before this big winter hits." And which is also something they used to do in history. Like the winter time was when like a lot of military campaigns would stop, and they just hole up for the winter and just fucking try to survive. So they're just like, all right, cool. Like we'll get out of England. So Askeladd and his guys head for warmer territory. They head down to France to just see what they can do before the winter settles in, and what they can scam out of somebody. And they end up finding these two French factions fighting against each other. One of them holed up in this fort that's kind of up against this water in a lake, and this other invading force that's just getting turned back time after time,
Yeah, getting
being
ass
led by
whooped.
this like short and I'll say it froggy looking individual.
He was so funny looking. His mouth and tongue were so huge.
He deserves to die.
Yeah.
He was terrible.
I
did
shouldn't
not
say
like-
that just because of how
I
he
did not
looks,
like
but
him at all. He was funny though, but I
Yeah.
didn't like him.
He was funny. But so Askeladd and his crew, they show up and they're kind of seeing this, and they're seeing an angle for themselves. They're like, all right, well, maybe we can play both sides, try and, they call up Thorfinn to the front, a few years older at this point, but
Yo,
a hardened killer now.
this look and this music that played was fucking so dope to me.
Yeah.
Like go in there and do it. It was just like damn. Like his eye was just like
yeah, the
yo,
boy
that
Thorfinn
shit was
we met.
so hard to
Ooh.
me.
He's dead at
Yeah.
this point. Like Thorfinn, the boy we met at the beginning of the show, is
Gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
So he's just like, he's called up to the front, and he's like, all right, cool. Like, well, he doesn't say cool, I'll do it. He basically says, hey, I don't know how many people I've killed at this point.
Yeah.
How many times I've helped you out in battle. You told me when I got some notches on my belt, you would honor like our duel. You
Yeah.
would allow me to challenge you
Mhm.
again. What do I have to do? He's like, all right, like go out there, bring me go into that battle, bring me back somebody's head.
A head with
a helmet on it. Yep.
A head with a helmet on it.
Mhm.
And well, at first he offers him 3 gold coins, and Thorfinn's just like, that. You know what I want.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, I'll honor this duel. If you bring me back a head with a helmet on it. So he sets off with that in mind, with the terms that Askeladd's told him. All right, tell him we'll help out the invaders, the people attacking this fort, and in return we'll take half the spoils.
Yeah.
Which when they go down there and they finally find this Norse interpreter for Thorfinn, and he tells them that, the guy laughs at first. He's just like, but all right, like, we clearly can't crack this nut on our own, so we gotta ask for help. Like, if they can do it, then sure.
Thorfinn's not budging, bro. Like, he's sitting there telling him, like, what? Nah. And then it's like he said something. He was like, we'll just kill you then.
Yeah.
And they put the things up to his neck. He's kind of just like,
Yeah,
they're gonna do
my
whatever-
guys are gonna attack you then.
yeah, they're gonna come for you anyway. So you might as well just keep me alive. Like you said, he's dead inside. He's literally, there's no fear of death in him.
He's an excellent negotiator.
Great.
Yeah. So
The messenger.
and this is like Askeladd. I think they said they've got about 100 guys, and this guy that he's threatening has 800, and he's just like, nah, they'll come through and they'll run through you.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm inclined to believe him at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, it's like Askeladd by himself probably could do a lot of it.
Which, in hindsight, Thor's beat all of these dudes
Mm-hmm.
barehanded.
Yeah, he's pretty
Anyway,
impressive.
just want to appreciate that for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So the next morning, well, actually in the middle of the night, because Thorfinn sends up the the fire arrows as his signal that
They
the
agree.
deal is done.
Mhm.
Yep.
We're good to go. And so Askeladd and his guys, they take their they pick up their ships. We don't see exactly what they do with them, but a bunch of other French dudes, like in the middle of the night, just see the dragons on the front of the ships. Like,
it's a bad sign or
Yeah.
whatever it is, bad
Yeah.
omen or whatever.
bad omen going
Yep.
into the battle the day before.
Mhm.
So the next morning, when the battle's all set up, the French lines are all set. They're ready to attack the fort once more, and Askeladd and his Vikings are nowhere to be seen.
Yep.
Mhm.
And he's just like, looks like your dude sold you out. So I'm gonna kill you, Thorfinn. But first, let's get this battle done with. We'll kill you after that.
Yeah.
Get this figured out first.
Sit your ass right here with us and watch
And
this battle
Thorfinn was
go
just
down.
like, "Don't worry, it's fine."
Like,
Yeah.
they'll show up.
Yeah, they'll be here, bruh. Chill.
They'll
Yep.
be here.
And then they start cracking over there.
Thorfinn runs off. They try to shoot him with the arrow.
Thorfinn sees a helmet. So
Yeah,
he's
he's-
like, I see a guy
He
with a
says
helmet.
like, which guy's the one? He asked
Who's
one
the
of the dudes
leader?
like, which one's the leader? And they point out the dude with the feather on his cap.
takes off like, you fucking idiots, you let him. He's going too.
Just
He
for
is.
Ice's, and this is for Ice. He does
Yes.
a Naruto run.
He does, yes,
He runs
he does
off. The
do.
arms behind him when he runs, and
Mhm.
he does a little zigzag and makes sure those arrows don't hit him. He gets there, climbs the wall, jumps over the wall, and during that time, Askeladd's people come and they bring the ships overland. They literally carry the ships,
That was so dope.
drop
too.
them into the bay,
Yeah.
which is a real problem for the fort because they go around the back and now they can attack right from the back where there's no defense.
Mhm.
Thorfinn climbs up, and now these guys with the crossbows turn around and start shooting at Askeladd's boats,
Yeah.
which is a real problem because the crossbows have a lot more force than like a pull string bow.
Mhm.
And so the force that is going through, it's going right through their shields. And they're like, oh, crap. And Askeladd's like, oh, man, we're going to definitely take some,
Crossbow.
Yeah,
we're gonna take
we're
some
in
loss.
trouble.
Yeah.
we're going to take some losses here. But then they stop shooting. And he's like, well, why'd they stop shooting? As well, because Thorfinn made it over the wall.
This scene
he-
too.
Lights
Oh my god.
up those crossbow guys. The first guy comes at him, and he literally just chops off all his fingers.
And then it cuts to a first person angle of how he's fighting now. Just
Yeah.
like seeing it through his eyes, he's just slicing people the fuck
That
up.
was dope. I told
That
Brennan
was
this
so
reminded me.
dope.
I don't know if you played the game Mirror's Edge at all. It was
No,
like,
no.
It was like a parkour game. You were like a messenger. You had to like run through city. It was all first person view. You could like run up walls and like do crazy stuff.
Mhm.
When he jumped over those dudes with the shield, like like parkour jumped over them and just
Yeah.
cut that dude's head off. That's exactly, you put me right in the middle of that game. But the funny part is like he cuts that dude's head off. It goes over the wall down into the water.
He cuts the leader's head off, and it goes off. He's like, ah, crap. And he just jumps in the water right after it.
Yo.
But he does his job. He stops the crossbowmen from
Mhm.
firing. By the time his attack is over, on top of it, the crossbowmen are already going to be overwhelmed by the Vikings and Askeladd's people who already were on this shore, already were attacking. And pretty much they wrap it up with like a nice little bow. They steal all the treasure, put it
Yep.
on their boats, and by that they put all the treasure on their boats so fast
Yeah.
that they're on their boats and they're paddling off by the time the French guy gets there, the frog-looking dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Where's my shit?" And then
Frog
Askeladd
face motherfucker.
Askeladd pretty much was like, yo, here's the deal. Half of it really is the fort. So you took the fort, I'll take the spoils, you get the victory, we all win. And then as he's saying that, they're like, oh, he's like cursing him. And then Askeladd, and then Thorfinn throws the head of the guy up on the boat.
Yep.
Then gets on the boat, and all the men are like, "He's alive?
Yeah.
What?" And he gets on there. He's like, "You know what I want?" And he challenges him to a duel. Askeladd accepts, but then the arrows from the French guy start hitting the boat, and they're just like, "All right, well, we'll do it later. I accept.
Yeah.
We got to go right now."
Yeah, we gotta go.
So they go home.
They
And
head
that brings
out.
us to episode 8.
I guess we get into episode 8. It's just funny to see him sit there while they're like basking in the gold. He's just sitting there like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. That's all Thorfinn's looking at him.
Yo, just for the record,
Money means
Askeladd
nothing
was
to him.
fly as hell.
Oh, he was doing had the
He
rings
had the,
on.
he had the rings on.
the
He had
crown.
like the crown and like the royal jacket. He's just like wearing it all, talking shit to
Yo.
the French guy. Just like, yo, like we get all this. You get to keep your lives, and you can have that empty ass fort. Enjoy your
Yeah.
day. You know.
Bye, bitch.
Bye.
Right. Hi, bitch. Bye, bitch.
Then
Like,
they
it's
head
just
out
done.
over a fucking waterfall.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
off.
They do it. They make it out, and then they're like, "We're heading home." Which we didn't at this point. We didn't even really know they had a home base.
Yeah.
No. So this is where they go, I guess, during all the winters. They must have been coming back here like every year, I imagine,
assume.
because it doesn't see like people don't necessarily seem to recognize Thorfinn, but he seems to know his way around.
Yeah.
And this is a settlement where it's actually Askeladd's uncle that runs it, and Askeladd says, yeah, he's kind of a penny pincher, kind of a cheap old man. And so
Yeah.
when he shows up and he's just like, hey, I brought my guys here to stay up for the winter, and the guy's just like, how are you going to pay for all that?
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you not see this money?
Yeah.
Do you not see this
I
money?"
actually like
Check out this take.
I
Yeah.
actually liked this. This is a small part, but when Thorfinn gets off the boat and he bumps into that dude, the dude's like, "Hey man, where the fuck you going?" He's like,
He just turns, looks over his shoulder.
"That was like the I stepped on your Jordans moment," and then the dude was like, "Just keep, this is how you people die. Just let him step on your Jordans, let him go, let him be who he is. You can tell he's a stone cold killer." And the dude's kind of just like, "All right then, like it's all good."
I'm going to let you go this
Let
time.
you go this time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thorfinn like gave him that look. Like, are you ready to die at this moment? Is it that time?
Yeah,
right.
I'm murder o'clock at all moments.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Right, at all
Yeah.
moments, murder o'clock.
So Askeladd's talking with his uncle. He's just like, dude, don't even worry about the money. I got the money handled. No
Yeah,
problem. But
yeah.
also during this scene, we meet another character. His uncle's got this slave girl who he says is actually used to be a noble. She was a noble girl, the daughter of some sort of rich lord or king, but he lost his fight, and this is what happens to you in this time. You can be at the top of the pile, but if you lose one of these fights, like you and your family, like you're done. You fall to ruin immediately. And so she went from living the high life to literally being this dude's slave, and he's just like, she's pretty much fucking useless, but
Yeah.
she looks nice. She's a nice like prize. I can say she's this dude's daughter, but
how
she's
you
not
expect
really
a
a
rich
good
girl to
worker.
be a dope slave? Stupid motherfucker. Like she's a rich girl. She
She's been living the high life.
No,
Yeah.
but I think Askeladd makes a good point because he's just like, I can't control her, and he's just like, you just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, she might be a noble person. It's like, for me, it's like, you just got to do it the right way, bro.
Askeladd would have been a pimp in these modern days right now.
I mean,
He
Look
would've
at
been
all
like an
those
act-
ladies waiting
yeah.
outside for him.
yeah, he was a like
Yeah.
he had a harem. Like he shows up and they're all like, oh my god. He's just like, yeah, I got all y'all some necklaces. You know what I'm saying? Got
Yo.
some real nice for your next girl.
Yo.
Exactly. He's like, he's leaning low in a
Some girl
Cadillac.
said, "I want a ring." Got you. Don't worry about that.
Say no more. You know what I want? Come over here. Let me show you.
And it's funny too, because like later on, one of the girls is like, "Hey, that Thorfinn's kind of cute." She's like, "Yeah, but he doesn't have money like Askeladd does."
So-
Shows you right where their mind is.
Yep.
Right.
Well, it's also funny too. I don't know if you noticed this, but like one of the ladies, like all the way on the left side, is just like this huge woman with like a cleft chin. Did you see that?
No,
picture?
I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah, you got to go back and watch that. There's like one of
hilarious.
those chicks is busted.
Hilarious. Was even so that leads us into like the whole reason for this episode is this is duel number 3
Duel number 3. Yeah,
between
because
Thorfinn and Askeladd.
his uncle's just like, oh great, yeah, we'll put you up, no problem. We'll get a nice feast for you guys tonight. And Askeladd's like, yeah, it's gonna have to wait. I got a duel I gotta do before dinner.
Yeah, he really said it like that too. He's like, I got this thing,
Ew.
this kid, and so
Gotta
I mean, 'cause the
serve
thing
him.
is, I don't understand how Askeladd can even at this point underestimate Thorfinn. Like,
Exactly.
I don't understand how you can still do that because the kid is a monster. And he knows it. He knows he's a monster. He brought the head, swam back under the boat, brought
Yeah.
him back the head. He, stopped the crossbowmen from attacking. He survived all the things that to this
He
point.
wanted to fight after all of that. He swam probably a few miles to them.
Yeah, he was
Got
ready
on
to
the
fight
boat
right
and
there.
say, "I'm ready to fight right now."
Yeah.
But
Kid is a monster.
so the whole town gathers. They go outside.
All the women.
All the women, everybody's there to see it, and it's time to scrap. And Askeladd's like, he's ready to talk. That's what Askeladd wants to do. He's ready to talk And Thorfinn's not about that talking life.
Yeah.
And Askeladd learns very quickly he cannot take this fight lightly.
Well, it was dope about this whole thing too. This reminds me of some old school fighting shit. I don't know if they did this where you guys are from, but when we were fighting out here, when we were growing up, everybody gets in a circle,
Yeah.
so you can't go anywhere. You
Yep.
can't run, and if you got knocked down, everybody stomps you out, which is the worst fucking thing ever. So you never want to get dropped in a fight because girl or guy, don't matter. If a girl gets dropped, everybody, girls and guys were stomping her out. If a guy gets stopped, girls and guys were stomping her. This shit is
That's brutal. I didn't do that when I was growing up.
No.
that
They
brought
would
back.
just push you back into the fight.
Circle, sure, but
If you
like,
fail,
damn,
if you fall, they're not pushing you back. They're just stomping you out. But just that particular style of like getting in a circle, the fact that it's like an old school thing from then and it still came to now, which is like that was to me that was kind of crazy. That just kind of brought back, I guess, memories, not bad memories.
I mean, we've come all this way in time, but we haven't changed all that much, have we?
Not at all. We're very archaic still.
Yes.
Absolutely. So yeah, Thorfinn's got kind of has Askeladd on his heels here. He's just like, oh shit, this kid's different.
Out the gate, he goes, "You're a little bit taller."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he
Swiping a little higher than I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like the fight gets really intense, and then immediately, like as soon as Thorfinn gets off into space, like he actually does a move that makes it so that Askeladd has to drop his sword, but he drops it with purpose. So like he drops it because Thorfinn outbested him in that move, but he also was about to reach for Thorfinn's arm, and Thorfinn realized like, oh shit, and had to jump back, which is the second time he had to jump back because the first time Askeladd did a big swing, and it was like everybody's like, ooh, look how far he pushed Thorfinn back, and one of the Vikings was like, no, you
it was
idiot.
Bjork. He was like,
Yeah, Bjork was like, no,
Nah,
he
bro.
jumped back, like
Yeah.
because he's fighting really well right now.
yeah.
He did the right thing. And so like so then Askeladd gets his sword back. Thorfinn comes again at him, and Askeladd is like, "Oh shit, this is a problem." So he's like, "Well, let's take this from a physical fight to a mental fight."
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll give Askeladd this. This dude knows how to pick his fights and how to try to change things to his advantage. He did the same thing with Thor's. He's like, all right, I can't win this like straight up. Let me see what I can do to try to trick this dude. And that's exactly what he does to his son. He's just like, man, like, wait a minute. What is this all about anyway? Are you, who did I kill? Like, it's been so long. I don't even remember. Are you sure it was me? I don't think I killed your dad,
Yeah.
dude. And Thor's, that just like sends, Thorfinn goes crazy.
This is what happened. This is what happened. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
That is right.
I remember he was that idiot that was too dumb to let his kid just die to save his own life, and that just sends him over the edge.
So he screams and does his Eren from Attack on Titan scream. He runs at him, and then at that point it's over. He's just fighting emotionally now, and it's like it's ass whooping time.
Smart move by Askeladd because he was about to lose this fight. I think.
Yeah.
I think if he doesn't do this, he doesn't manipulate. But I think that's just like that also shows Thor as like Thorfinn. You're not old enough. That probably wouldn't happen to a grown man.
Yeah.
At least from my perspective, in the sense of like, bro, I'm gonna serve you up. So I think he used that. He manipulated the child like he knew he could, and he did what he had to do, and he gets the W.
He does. And he just knocks Thorfinn out, and he kind of just like, all right, guys, nothing to see here.
We grabbed his
Dinner
arm.
time.
I thought he broke his arm
It
at
looked
first,
like it, but
I think he was fine after
He
that.
seems okay later on
Yeah.
when we see him. Because, they all go to this big dinner. Everybody's drinking and eating, having a good time. Except for the girl who drops a bunch of plates, and then she gets basically whipped in front of the whole party. And even and Askeladd's just like, man, this dude, he notes the irony of just like, this dude's a slave to money. He bought the slave with money, and he can't control her.
Yeah, I had the quote down too. Yeah. It was
Oh,
like-
yeah, what was it?
The quote was, "A guy that is a slave to money holds a whip and pretends to be the master of the slave that he bought with his money." Some cold shit.
Everybody's a slave to something.
Everybody's a
right?
slave to
Slaves.
something. I had a question for you guys. What are you a slave to?
I prefer not to say.
All right, do you guys like the word slave? What do you?
You want to say what's our vices?
I guess that would be more. I guess if you don't want to use the word slave.
I mean, it's either or is the same shit.
I was gonna say I know exactly what Brennan's answer is, and I don't think it's anything to do with the wording of it. I think it just doesn't want to give his answer.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yes, anybody who knows me knows exactly the answer to that, and that's it.
I must not know Brennan like that then, because I don't know what the
It
answer
doesn't
is.
take much to figure it out. I don't.
If I guess, are you gonna say? You're just gonna be like, no.
Let's see what Rob. What you got?
You want me to do this right now?
Not for me, for you.
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
I was like, I'll do this.
Yeah,
right now.
no,
You want me
When we put some.
I don't know. I think I'm a slave to my comforts, man. Like, when I have like I can do the extroverted thing. I can go out. I can like talk to people, but like at the end of the day, like I need my time and my space to just like I need to be back there, and like everything kind of comes back to that. Like at the end of the day, I need my comforts, I need my time, I need my space, and I need to be like to have my alone time.
I actually, I would actually argue just a slight variation of that would be what I would say your vice or what you're a slave to.
What's that?
Is I feel like Rob is a slave to routine. Is
what?
that like if you throw
partially.
Rob off of his routine, he's fucked. Like he gets upset, he gets flustered, he gets really like Rob. The whole reason we even have a routine in this office in general at all, like what time we get here in the morning, how things happen, is because Rob created that, and he didn't even do it consciously. Like he has to have a time that he's supposed to feel like he's supposed to be somewhere. He has to have a way things are supposed to work. There has to be order to things. If there isn't order and organization to something, then it upsets Rob like physically. And so for me, Rob is a slave to routine. Like it has to be within routine, and if it's not, he creates a routine for it.
Well, and I would agree with that because getting older, like getting into my 30s, you know, I'm 31 now, like I learned a lot of things about myself. And one of those things is like, you know, when I was younger, I'm like, man, I like change. I like new things. I can adapt to anything. Like I can be a freewheeling type of guy. And like, as I got older, I'm like, no, like things are like this for a reason. Like everybody wants to say like they'll start an office or a company and they'll be like, I'll be different. Like, we're not going to, you know, do all this, that, and the other. Nobody's going to clock in. And I'm like, but honestly, if you look at it, like office hours, they work for a reason.
Yep.
Like, and it took me trying to do those things and being like, man, why is this so fucking hard for me just to be like, oh, because I need routine. Like, there really does need to be a balance between like chaos and the rules. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, rules are there because honestly, at the end of the day, people don't like to admit this, but a lot of times they kind of work. And that's why they're there. Not all of them. Some of them are dumb, which is why I'm like, some rules are made to be broken, but a lot of things like routine, they help me.
Or
they help
routine
me.
for Rob.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's honestly like that's very, very, that's like my lady.
What
She
about
has,
you, Keenan?
has to have a schedule. I was gonna say, and I don't think this makes sense necessarily. Maybe it does. I was gonna say a slave to lack of discipline, but I think it's a slave of to distraction. Like I damn near like when I'm doing work, I'm like, I need a distraction. Like I would just float over to YouTube. Like I hate that because I can get so much done, and I'm for sure I would be further in my career in general if I didn't let certain shit distract me. And that's why I'm glad I even have like, shout out to my lady. I have a great woman that's kind of like, she checks me on it like, dude, like I made you a fucking schedule. Yeah. She's kind of like, you gotta have a schedule. She's like, I made you a schedule where you can drop videos. Why the fuck are you not doing this shit? And I'm like, Breakfast Club interview. So it's literally it's been a detriment to my career to a point. I've gotten better, but it's still like yesterday it did the same thing to me. Like I was supposed to be cutting up more videos for the animation podcast, and I was like, videos to watch on something else. And I was like, fuck. And yeah, man.
Yeah, those distractions, I could totally see that.
So yeah, I mean, y'all probably know me. I'll be talking to you, but like, Brennan, and like I'll just jump over to Brennan. Like, you guys probably know well enough at this point, but
yeah, it is what it is.
Brennan, you're not gonna give us anything.
You want like a second? You want to? You got
how
like
to
a
word
second,
it, or?
second worst or something?
Yeah. Second, if you don't want to give your first worst, is it women?
I vote that we just move on.
You don't have a second worst though, like another thing that you might be. Because I think for the most part, multiple.
Tony, what do you say, Tony?
Not even women, it's attention. From women. Not necessarily even from women. That's true.
That's bad. Like, I mean,
I like attention. Yeah.
Well, I think
I like the way he worded that. That works way better for me.
It does.
Than what
actually.
I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. So all right. So
It's
yeah,
just
I mean,
attention.
yeah.
I'm a slave to attention. I love attention. And for me, that was something that took a really, really long time for me to come to terms with. Because I grew up in a farming family that, not a farming family. My father was a farmer, who's an engineer, and it's just like, you know, put your head down, do your work. You know, don't draw attention to yourself. And that was like kind of like how my whole family was built. And I've always loved attention, so I always felt like there was a lot of shame in wanting that, so I've always suppressed it. And then, you know, like as I've realized, like as I start to get more attention, I'm really like thrive at it, regardless of the attention though. It's like I could be in a party and it could just be like, oh, it's Brennan's turn to talk, and I'm like excited to be the charismatic center.
Are you
of
like
attention.
turned on by it, like in the sense of like?
It gives me energy.
Okay.
Like I get very energetic. Like if there's people that want to hear what I have to say, if there's people that just want to give me attention regardless, like whether it be on the YouTube channel or the TV show, whether it be even on this podcast, like that's the reason I'm here. It's because I like attention. Just keeping it real.
Fuck about y'all on this podcast. When Keith shows me love, I love it.
Yeah, Keith, bro. Shout out to Keith again. Like he's gonna get a lot of shout outs from me.
Keith is big up in your ego. So I mean, I want to know what you were gonna say, because I know we can get back to the thing in a second. But
if I wasn't gonna say it, I'm not gonna say it. That's
Yeah.
what you're not understanding. Like
Because the way attention doesn't seem like the way you're gonna say it. I'm like, how bad was he gonna say this shit to where he's like he's embarrassed or he's like I can't say it because it's gonna make me look crazy. Because saying you would love attention, it's like, all right, I would 100% see that with you, but I'm like, what other way could he have worded it to be worse?
I think he was just going to say a very specific kind of attention. That's all.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Moving on then.
I don't
Moving
know
on.
what y'all talking about.
So,
Dick ride.
while this is going on, Thorfinn's out on the boat, and where I guess he spends most of his time because he didn't go in. One of the guys even says like, "Oh yeah, I was supposed to take over Thorfinn's watch," and he's like, "Nah, go back in. I'm good."
I'm sick of him not eating, bro.
You gotta eat.
No, he ate. He ate.
No, he does, but I'm sick of him not going in there in a warm. Well, I guess it's still cold out. Well, it is.
He's
warm in
staying,
there.
but the
Oh,
thing
it's
is, like,
definitely
he's
cold out
staying
there.
on his dad's boat. Like, he's just like, yo, like,
it ain't
he's-
going nowhere.
But at the same time, it's just like it's comfort. Like, he's like, I don't. These people are the people who killed my father and would destroy
I
my
can't break
land. If
bread
they
with
got
you.
And I'm sure in that
Okay.
moment, he's
Okay.
also feeling pretty goddamn ashamed of himself
'Cause he
for
lost.
finally
Yeah,
getting
true,
that fight
true. Okay.
for his dad and losing it. And he has
losing
that-
his temper, losing the fight.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't want to be around them.
And he probably feel like this is the best he's been, fighting wise and action
Oh,
wise.
yeah.
So
Oh
he's
yeah,
like,
he's
I
just
can
like
win
I
right
could have
now.
won. He
Yeah.
should. I could have won, and I didn't because he took full advantage of me. He's not. He might not be as physically skilled of a fighter as I am anymore. They're pretty close.
Yeah.
But he's a better warrior than I am, and
Yeah.
he bested me again.
Yeah.
After I went through so much to get there, and it's just like shit. Like, and then he in front of all these people
Yeah.
that are here. It's
Yeah.
like, what's everybody gonna talk to him about when he goes in there? How he lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you want to be in there either? Like,
I
the
don't
only
think
reason
they
I'd be in
do.
there because it's warm and there's food, but I still be in the corner.
I don't think he do. I think some of them gonna be like, this motherfucker, he's coming.
Yeah.
I don't think they're laughing or nothing. 'Cause they know he could whoop any of their ass. I don't think they're making fun of him.
I think he could probably take everybody but Bjorg or whatever his name is. Like, I
You're
don't
on a mushroom.
I don't think Bjorg, even right now in general, like, I don't think Bjorg's somebody to be fucked with. Like,
I don't
he's the
think
only
he
body.
is, yeah.
He's the only person that gave Thor before Askeladd. He's the only one who gave him any pause who needed more than one hit. You know what I'm saying? And still was able to like take Thorfinn as a prisoner.
Mm.
It's different. That's I feel like a size versus speed type argument. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like Askeladd has got brains, and that's what he ends up using pretty much in every fight. That's his best weapon is his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But
True. Very true.
all that to say, Thorfinn's out on the boat, trying to have this moment, and he has like it's not necessarily a vision, but he has a moment, thinking about his dad, and he sees himself as a kid again in that moment, and his dad's just like, I want to tell you not to seek revenge. Like obviously that's basically the last thing I told you before I died, but clearly you're way too stubborn.
Yeah, he says, he pretty much says nobody's your enemy. Nobody has any enemies, and a warrior doesn't need a sword.
Yeah.
So that nobody has any enemies, and I think that's when he kind of realizes. And that now, in saying that quote and what Brennan said earlier in the podcast, it makes sense that it can go that way now about like Askeladd not being the target anymore. It's just like, all right, man, this guy's not my enemy. This is not, even though at least in the forefront now he's not. It's going to probably be when he finds out that it's Floki instead, and the other parties that played into place for this.
Right.
But now it makes sense when you see that quote and hear that quote. That can probably go the way Brennan's saying, unless Brennan actually watched episodes ahead.
Nope.
Okay.
All right, I believe him. So he's having this moment, and he's in his he's talking with his dad, the spirit of his father and memory of his father, and
Which was
what
a
snaps
good
him-
moment. I really liked that moment.
Yeah, it was really cool. But what snaps him out of it is somebody grabs his arm and he draws this knife and it puts it right at the throat.
her throat.
Yeah.
And it's the slave girl that was just getting beat in the hall,
Not
but
understanding he has a severe case of PTSD.
Hey, he didn't hurt her.
he almost did.
Yeah, it was took her head off.
He would have just dumped her in the water, ate the food.
I didn't see her.
Yep.
What girl? Like, she came out there, she never came back. Like, nah, I didn't see her.
But they have an interesting conversation.
Yeah, they do, because he's basically tells her like, I don't remember if he says exactly like you make me sick, but he's kind of just like I don't know how you just stay
She's
where
like,
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm a slave. I don't know what to do. I hate my life. He's like, why don't you just kill him and leave?
Yeah, because she was like, "You're a slave, aren't you a slave?" or something like that. He's like, "Hey, no, I could eat whatever I want to eat.
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want to do." And she was like, "Oh," and then when they say that, and she's just like, "Well," and she kind of says like, "Well, where do we go? Like, I don't even know if I do this, if I kill this guy, where do I go?"
Yeah.
And then he tells her about Vinland.
Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, there's a place with no war. It's a place of peace, and it's the story he knew from back in the day. And I think we're gonna see more of these too. I think she's gonna come back
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
I think there's
so,
definitely something there. But anyway, the rest of they pretty much fast forward right through the rest of the winter, and as summer starts, we come back to in Denmark. You know, the king who said he was going to roll out with all his men come summertime. They're getting ready to roll out, and he's got Floki by his side. He's got all his guys, and they cut. He's talking to one of his guys about how he's bringing, I think, one of his other grandsons with him, and I'm wondering if this is maybe one of Thorfinn's cousins or something like that. This guy whose name is like Canute or something like that, younger guy. They show him kind of standing up on a hill watching. He's got this, helmet on, long flowing blonde hair. And they're saying, well, he doesn't really have any sort of fighting experience. And the king's just like, yeah, but he better, if he's going to lead these men someday, if he's going to take over the throne from me, he's going to have to learn how to do it quick. Yeah. Because just like Askeladd's been saying, like you have to lead through fierceness with these guys. There's no, you have to, you rule by might, you know? And so he takes off. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of that person later on. They head off for Denmark, or for England. And we cut to the scene of the first battle of the summer, and the first thing we see is this dude just like axe coming in.
Yo, those that axe chopping off arms, heads, necks. This show has not really slowed down.
No, it really has.
Every time it slows down, it gives you enough to where it gives you enough story or gives you enough something to latch onto to where you feel like I don't need action right now. And then the action goes, and the action is always somebody getting their head cut off.
Yeah,
always. I mean, what more action you want, bro? Like,
I don't. I mean, I love it. It's some type of limb is getting chopped off in every action scene in this show, which I'm all for.
And I mean, other than that, we see that happen. We see this close up of this dude that threw it. I thought it was Askeladd doing a little bit of reading. It turns out it's not. It's some other dude that looks a lot like him, just with a different haircut and a headband on, or at least that's what it seems like from what I read. But they give the context that as this summer's coming to, or as the summer's starting and the Vikings are coming back in, they're running through England, just destroying these forces. But they get to the first big battle and their first bit of resistance when they get to a city we all know in England, London.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to pick up next time.
I like this show.
London.
Yo. Tell you something, man. I'm out here good with the picks, man. I know a good anime when I see one, bro. I know a good one when I see.
Yeah, somebody else has had some really good picks too.
Who?
Keenan?
Would you pick again?
Demon
I was gonna
Slayer.
let that sit there.
Demon Slayer wasn't fair.
What do you mean it wasn't fair?
Everybody knew about Demon Slayer.
Everybody knew about Mob Psycho.
Did they?
Yes.
Who was blowing Mob Psycho up in here? You didn't
I
even
knew.
watch it. You didn't
I hadn't
watch
watched
it
it, but
yet.
I knew about it. I had been recommending me before. I knew what it was.
Okay.
I knew it was also made by the same people as One Punch Man.
You
It was
did.
a low hanging fruit. And Demon Slayer, I called that out before we started watching it. I called that out from episode 1 that I thought was an amazing anime, and I said it on the podcast.
Find a tape. Anyways, what was the other one you picked?
I don't remember.
Shampoo, I think, is you recommended
everybody
it.
recommended it, but I wasn't
that was
here.
like before we were doing picks.
Yeah,
I
that
was trying
wasn't
to see if
like
you're 2-0.
Huh?
I was trying to see if you're 2-0.
I think I only had one pick.
Technically, I think this is we're just going through the next round of picks. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've only ever had one pick.
I thought Brennan picked the second pick, but all right.
I mean, you kind of picked Megalobox too.
Oh, wait, I picked Megalobox. That was my first pick. Megalobox was my first pick. Second pick was
I knew you had 2 picks.
Demon Slayer. 2-0. What up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Where you at?
I mean, not as strong as my 2-0, but it's.
I mean, we can look at the scores and get back to the call sheet. Get back to the sheet.
I don't
Like,
think we did the
I
scores
don't know where their
for.
power levels are at.
we got to come back, but everybody loved Megalobox. That when we watched
did
that
like
was the
that one
best
a
thing
lot.
we had watched at that point.
Into Mob Psycho, to my pick. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. It's arguably because the thing is, like, even if you ask Rob, like, after we watched both of those, like, what would you
It's
recommend
tough
to
for me,
somebody?
yeah.
He's like, I don't know, either Megalobox
For
or
him,
Mob
I
Psycho.
think the crowd's gonna pick Mob Psycho over Megalobox.
I don't know.
I
I think it just
wouldn't be
depends.
surprised by that,
They're
actually.
different. They're so different. Like, I really like both of them. And
I
so
do.
for me, it's just like, it depends on my mood. If I want to laugh, then I'm going to watch Mob Psycho. If I want to see some serious shit, like, then I'll go watch Megalobox.
Yeah, actually, because like this scene, that episode with the where Thorfinn went through that montage of getting badass and ran into that old woman and her daughter. That episode probably hit me harder than any episode since that episode with the veteran in Megalobox.
And look, and we're talking about all these old episodes and stuff like that. I just want to make it clear that you can actually go back and listen to these old episodes we're talking about. They're on any podcast app you have. We have that.
Yeah.
It's on there. It might not be on YouTube because we started the YouTube a little bit later.
I saw some people in comments on some of our older videos going like,
Ask
"Hey,
about
where are
stuff.
these other older videos you guys are talking about? It's on the podcast.
All on the podcast.
We haven't been doing the YouTube thing as long as we've been doing this."
Yeah.
So, what do you feel, Brennan?
My rating?
Yeah, what is your rating and how you feel?
I wish I remember what my rating was last time because it stays the same. Because the first 4 episodes were like this own movie. These second four, it feels like this show was built in episodes of 4 arcs. Like it was built for us to review it. Like it's really
so
perfect.
So far,
for
both of these 4 split perfectly.
I'm gonna go with 7,800.
Okay.
Nice. I think that's higher than last week.
I think I was like 7,500 last time.
Like that.
So I'm gonna go with 75, 78, somewhere in there.
How you feel, Rob?
I gave it a 6,500 last time. It's definitely going to come up from that. I'm kind of trying to think about where it would land. I'm thinking maybe like a 7,200 at this point. And I'm going. I expect it to kind of maintain this, but I had to give it that room. Just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case. But I'm liking it a lot. Something I mentioned to Brennan before the show. One of the reasons I really like Thorfinn and Askeladd.
Ooh, this is such a good point.
This reminds, and I don't think you've watched any Game of Thrones, right?
No, I haven't.
But Thorfinn and Askeladd are literally Arya and the Hound.
Straight
that
up.
is them.
Straight. I wish you would have said that from the beginning of this episode. Yes.
Yeah, Thorfinn is basically Arya. Like she saw a horrible thing happen to her family and turns into like a basically 12-year-old killing machine.
Yeah.
And turns into a dangerous ass assassin.
A vengeful assassin of death and destruction. That's still badass as fuck.
And is basically trained, mentored by
a person that
by a
hates.
sellsword that she hates and wants to kill because she blames him for, at least in part, for.
So, should I watch Game of Thrones?
What's that?
Should I watch Game of Thrones?
I would say yeah. I like it.
Game of Thrones is very good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
If you like this, Tony,
Tony,
wait, Tony, what you got to say?
He's gonna say skip the last season.
I actually would agree with that. I would say stop watching it after episode 4 of the last season.
You got to finish it.
I mean, at that point, I would finish it.
Yeah, you got to finish it.
The last season is trash.
I don't know how somebody could get to the last season. We'll talk about the
first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones are incredible.
Yeah.
Like it's just
no, not the first 7 seasons because season 5 is pretty bad.
What season?
And then season 6 came back up. Season 7 was okay. Then season 8 was definitely it had some issues.
Overall, they did a really good job on the show outside of the last
season 5 and season 8 are pretty weak.
We gotta talk about season 5.
Anyway. So all that to say. So I'm at a 7,200 right now because I'm really liking these characters. Arya was my favorite on Game of Thrones. Thorfinn is very similar to her. I like him a lot.
Where are you at, Keenan?
Don't appreciate that.
I just did a finger.
Pointed dead in my face. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm gonna get us an 8. I'm gonna get us 8,000, man. This show
almost to 9,000, babe. So just for the record, our ratings are out of 9,000.
Out of 9,000. Because for me, this is like I'm watching this anime. And I'm not comparing it to shit.
Yeah.
It's literally, when I'm watching, it's its own anime. I'm not sitting there, this is kind of like, this is kind of like, this is kind of like, this is kind of like. I'm not comparing it to like Dragon Ball Z. I'm not comparing it to Mob Psycho. I'm watching this shit, and it's only giving me its own vibes. And this is an anime that I like. This is one of those animes, like, you know how when you watch something dope, you're like, I need something that matches that. I'm not saying this matches Demon Slayer to me, but it's so different in that sense of like how it's being written, how it's shown.
Yeah.
That it's like, it's giving me the feeling of just like, damn, this shit is fucking fire. Like I said that multiple times, like, this shit is fire, dog.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the, to me, right, even out of the 8 episodes as of right now, unless this shit just drops off horribly, to me this is gonna be probably a top 3 anime that we watched. That we watched so far, in my opinion, and I understand that might not be for everybody, but if it keeps getting better and better, like I think it can, if it doesn't, then but I got to give it an 8,000 right now. It's a lot of murder,
yes,
it's a lot of slaughter, it's a lot of
beautiful,
and it looks great. The animation's great.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question actually, because I know you're about to just compliment it and love it.
Good.
Do we have any notes on the show where you're just like, yo, this should be better. This could be better.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm specifically looking at Rob because he's normally the best at being able to pick plot holes out.
Yeah, sorry.
I do have one.
Okay, why don't you go first? Let me think about it because
the only note that I have is that I don't feel like they do a very good job of setting up what the actual world is. In the sense of like they mention stuff like, yeah, the Dutch and the Vikings and the English and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't have the historical context of knowing the physical geography, locations of where these things are, like for me, it's confusing. Like, I'm just like, all right, so the Dutch and the Vikings, like, are the Vikings not Dutch? You know, the thing is, I don't know shit about, like, European history back during the Vikings times. So for me, like, even when you were talking about it earlier, it's a little confusing. You're like, well, these guys aren't Vikings. They're the elite fighting force of this and all that kind of stuff. I think that part of this show is confusing, and it doesn't have to be. I think there could have just been easy, like, little short voiceover thing at some point, like, that they do repeatedly that just explains a little bit more, like, per the times that those big things come up. So, like, in the beginning of that episode, like, yeah, so this is what's happening. But it's so short, and it's not simple enough because they're like, okay, there's this king, and then there's this thing, and then they just throw all this information at you, and they expect you to fully comprehend the scope of what they're saying, and then just go into like the effects of that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that actually, because I even said, I'm a little confused. I don't necessarily know who everybody is or how they fit into everything, because earlier, like, tells Thorfinn that, like, oh no, our people are from Norway. Then it turns out, like, oh, but he's been fighting for this guy from Denmark, and is that different than all these Vikings? And it's just like, so I also am a little confused about kind of where everybody falls. I mean, I know it's like basically everybody versus the English, so that's kind of just like where I'm at this point. Like, because I know a little bit about European history at this point in time, but it's I mean, this is the Dark Ages basically at this point, so there isn't a whole lot to know. There wasn't a whole lot of written history at this point in time, so it's actually a great point in time to be writing fiction like this, because like there's stories and people that came out like that you hear about, but like their exact exploits are a little fuzzy. So there's a lot of room to kind of play and bring that out. But yeah, I'd agree. That's probably my one note right now for the show is I'm a little confused. What's the the ranking tree right now, like and then, like the Joms Vikings, they answer the king of Denmark. Is he the king of Denmark, or is he just like a king of their clan? Like, I'm a little confused. I don't really know how that all lines up, so some clarification hopefully coming up in these next few episodes.
Yeah, I won't even fight you on that. I think that's a great point. I think that's a great note, and I would 100% agree with that. I doubt if now you say that, that's the only note that I would have so far. I am, because I've been sitting there like, and it's been so good. I've been like, fuck it. Yeah, that's how I've been. It's been so
it's
good.
Not super
like,
relevant.
It's Thorfinn versus everybody. Really,
exactly.
That's really all you need to know.
What I'm hoping is going to happen is that, like I said, Thorfinn's going to figure out who the true enemy is, and I hope at some point he's going to have to go and defend his home. So he's going to be reunited with his mom and his sister,
right.
And he's going to go back to his main village, and he's going to take over like the role of his father in some way, shape, or form. But I personally, unfortunately, believe that they're just going to get murdered, and he's going to witness it or show up just a little bit too late, or whatever it's going to be. It's going to be really bad. His mom's final thing is going to be letting him know who he is, and so then it's going to be like him trying to, like, not wanting to, but like reluctantly climbing to the throne, and then leading a war that's like a losing effort that he actually ends up turning it around. That's my full prediction for this show.
I could see it honestly also being a little disappointing in that everybody expects it to be this big build up and this big fight, and what he ends up coming to realization is like, oh, I don't have any enemies, and then they all just run to Vinland, and that doesn't
definitely.
I completely disregarded Vinland, didn't I?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, but that's
I hope not.
I mean,
I want killing, but
I think I don't think he necessarily he might kill Askeladd. I don't know,
think
maybe
he
not.
Sets up a nation in Vinland, but that nation still has to fight with people, and that's what's going to be.
Right. I guess the one person that I'm like, I think they kind of have to kill him is Floki. I think that's the one guy that kind of has to die.
He has to die.
Yeah.
But
all right, cool. All right,
so,
well,
Brennan,
you can find me guys on Instagram at Mr. Producer Face or at Brennan Edwards Official on Facebook. Get at me.
Yeah.
I'm you have any more episodes of
No, last episode of Curse of Akakor came out this past Sunday, which was whatever. Today's October the 29th, so a couple days before this, 28th, 27th.
Okay.
No, it'll be 27th, Sunday.
If you say so.
Yeah, yesterday's the 28th, so that's Saturday, Monday. So the day before that was the 27th. Man. So yeah, so the 27th of October is 2019 is the last time that a show for that came out. Okay. And no need to watch that episode, guys, because guess who wasn't in it?
Oh, you wasn't?
I was not in that episode. Only episode. I was in every other episode except for this one.
Don't watch it. If he's not in it, don't watch it.
Yeah, I want attention, guys. Like, watch all the other
We know what he wants. We need comments, or go on there and watch it, and just go flood the comment section with where's Brennan?
I promise you, my heart could not be fuller if that happened. If y'all go in there and do that and just say, like, screw this show, where's Brennan?
Yeah.
Like, I promise you, like, you will be satisfying my vice to the highest
Brennan
degree.
watching it like this.
He really would.
He's rubbing his nipples right now.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to say I wouldn't do that, but I'm going to say I wouldn't do that. But please, Rob.
I'm RV Danger on Instagram. I'm not going to even, I'm going to stick with Instagram for now. That's what I'm going to go with, because that's where people can reach me. I'm not really
also,
on the other stuff
Rob
much.
pulls a cameo in an episode on the that you'll be releasing this week on my YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that.
Just a short
go
one.
to it's youtube.com/Droner DRONR, and you will see a hilarious cameo of Rob doing his Brennan impression.
Thank you. And then we've got a couple lists coming out this week, Brennan and I.
Yep.
We're gonna beat Ice's top 5 to the YouTube
definitely.
page.
We're gonna destroy that.
Let me tell you something, bro. This is a testament to Ice being late. He ain't got his top 5 out yet. After saying he gonna have this shit out for so long.
I did see him record it though.
He recorded it.
It's in the can.
It is
coming.
But just you guys, like, you know how much shit he's been talking about the top 5? Like, y'all not gonna be ready for this top 5. Nobody's gonna know all the anime that are on it. And it's just like, Rob, I mean, we're not gonna give anything away, but y'all just need to see it. That's
All,
Yeah.
all I'm saying is Ice's logic is just so funny.
I
For him to say stuff like, nobody's watched more anime than me because Brennan's watched more than me. Nobody's watched more than Brennan or some shit. And we were like, Brennan has told me a few people that have watched more anime than him, and I don't think you've watched as much as
I think
Brennan.
There might be a few people in our
I do
chat
not
that
claim
have
to be an
seen-
anime god of any sorts.
But he claimed he was.
Nah.
I'm like, bro, all right, man. Ice, drop your stuff. Ice.McGowan, that's his
It's nice and easy to remember now.
Yeah. Ice.McGowan.
He has a,
We got it
a
right.
handle that makes fucking
First
sense.
try.
Third try.
Yeah, exactly. He was Ice Daddy 65, whatever. I don't know. You
I'm
can
so
find
glad
me.
we didn't have to plug that one.
Yeah.
Ice Daddy.
You can find me at Keenan Baker on everything, Instagram, stuff like that. I forgot. This is gonna drop today or tomorrow. Tomorrow.
Yeah,
If
don't
it-
even. It's not even worth it probably then.
to promote it.
No. So. Hey guys.
Well, never mind. I had a thing I was gonna promote, but it might drop the other day. So fuck it. Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of AnimeSHUN.
And so anime was solved forever.